Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the Collider Games podcast. My name is Dennis Den, and actually, first time in the studio with us, we've got Tony Rivas. How you doing?
Man, I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And always through the magic of Skype. Actually, one time we had him in studio. Hopefully, we'll have him more. Caboose, how you doing?
Doing good. Just holy smokes, Devil May Cry 5.
All right. That's one of the main topics that we're going to talk about here. We had Tony ended up doing an interview with the producer that's on the channel right now. He also did an unboxing of the collector's edition. Mm-hmm. I know you, Caboose, did a review of it, which we'll get to in a little bit. So let's get started right off the bat. You can tell us a little more about this, Caboose, but they're saying that through this job posting by Crystal Dynamics that the Avengers game that they're making is not going to be on this generation of console, not the PS4, Xbox One, but they're talking about PS5 and Xbox 2 or Scarlet or whatever the hell they're going to call it.
Right.
Do you have any more details about that?
Yeah, so this is a job listing that has been going out there that Crystal Dynamics is looking for people that have experience with the current gen and the next gen consoles. So with that, it looks like if we just kind of match things up, that this Avengers game that's been in development for over 2 years now, it's been announced. It was announced in January of 2017, and we haven't heard a word since then. So it's been secretly in development since then, and yeah, it looks like now they're gearing up to have this game launch with the next gen. It is important to note, though, that supposedly the job posting still lists that people need experience with the current gen as well. So I'm thinking that this will probably launch on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, but the focus will be its launch on the newer consoles because it'll look better, it'll perform better, and everything there.
Yeah, I mean, Tony, are you excited for Avengers game?
I'm so excited for this, and this was my biggest disappointment. Like at E3 last year, radio silent.
Yes.
And I was like, maybe at the Game Awards, maybe, and I was like waiting for a trailer. Nothing.
Yeah. There's just rumors.
Oh my gosh, it's just been so disappointing because this is so exciting, and just the possibilities of what Crystal Dynamics and Square, what they can do with an Avengers game. It just blows my mind. So I've been just waiting for this, and the fact that now I might have to wait even longer, it's a little disappointing. But I'm kind of in the camp of like, if it's going to take time, but it's going to be amazing, that's what I'd prefer.
Exactly, and that's what I've been kind of saying as well most of the time on Twitter. There's some people out there that I know that are like, why do we have to wait so long? And it's like, listen, games is a totally different animal than movies. With movies, you get the green light, you film, you edit, you get all that stuff done, and the movie's out in like the next 2 years. It's so different with games. It's a way longer process. And honestly, if this game doesn't come out for like another 3 years, it's unfortunate, but it means that we're going to get a better game because of it. So I'd rather wait. I'd rather be patient because that means that we're going to get the best possible product. I have heard rumblings that the reason it's taken so long, the reason they haven't shown much, is because it is a bit of a rough development process right now with the game. So yeah, I understand if they want to take their time, and you know what? There are plenty of people out there who are fans of Square Enix games, the Kingdom Hearts franchise, who are tweeting me like, "Oh, this is your first rodeo with the Square Enix game? This is your first time? Like, trust me, you got a long ways away until this game." So you know what? I'm fine with waiting as long as we get a good game out of it.
Yeah, I don't think it will come out for probably another 3 years because if you think about it, okay, if it's going to be, let's say, on this generation and the next gen, right? We're assuming right now Xbox, Microsoft will do some sort of announcement at this E3, but I don't think they're going to launch this year. They'll probably launch 2020, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Sony they're not at E3 this year, so they're not announcing. So, I mean, they could maybe announce at the following E3 next year and then do...
They could even announce it later this year. If they got something
do their own event or something.
PlayStation Experience or anything.
Yeah.
Let's say, for hypothetically, they decide to release their console a year later than the Xbox. Then they're not going to announce this Avengers game like on the Xbox first and then do PS5 later. They're gonna release at the same time. So my guess is if Sony doesn't plan on releasing their console next year, which we think the Xbox will be, then that's another whole year. So it's a minimum 2 years to 3.
That's an interesting thing too, especially with the job posting saying working on next gen, but still current gen.
Right.
What if that was the case? What if Xbox did come out next year and then it launches on the new Xbox, but it's only on the PS4 because there's no Sony one out?
Well, that would help Xbox a little bit. So, I'm not sure. Yeah, if someone would want that to happen.
Sure.
Also, you're thinking with Avengers, obviously we're going to talk about Anthem as well, but you get that Iron Man feel out of it. But Avengers, if you're playing Avengers the game, it's got to be able to contain multiple characters at the same time. Let's say you're playing some sort of online co-op, right? Well, you're going to want to have at least 4 or 5 of these characters jumping around the same time, and that's what a next gen system would help you do in terms of graphics and whatnot.
Well, that's the dream. That's the dream.
Yeah, everything I've heard so far from this game, although it is in a bit of a rut development wise, it sounds super ambitious. It sounds like this is going to be something that they want to run its course over a couple of years. They don't want this to be no offense to a game like Spider-Man, but they don't want it to be like a Spider-Man PS4 where they got a couple of months of DLC and then that's it. We're done with the game. They want this to be, from what I understand, at least from everything I've heard, not even from what I've heard on the inside, but everything that's kind of being reported out there, this sounds like essentially what the plan was for Destiny, but for a Marvel game. To have like a 2-3 year plan of post-launch content and consistent updates to this game. So it could be really massive. And because of that, they got to take their time with it.
Yeah. And then I'm also wondering, is this, obviously it's going to be action-based, but like how much of story will be involved? Because obviously with the Spider-Man PS4 game, it had a lot of story in there. How much, I wouldn't say, not RPG elements, but maybe like just boosting your character and whatever your suits or your weapons and
skills.
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly. Like how much is that going to be involved? And then how are they going to continue that on in the DLC process?
Yeah. All I'm hoping for, and I've said this multiple times, some people might disagree with me. I hope there's no creative character. Just let me play as the Marvel characters. I want to play as, Iron Man or Hulk or whatever. I don't care about being the Joe Schmo superhero who's being introduced. There's so many games out there that do this, especially when you're playing with this licensed stuff. So just let me play as the Avengers.
So
the Avengers project.
If they're going to do that and they're going to do a story, they got to take it from somebody's vantage point. Whose vantage point do you think they're going to take it from?
That's a good question. I mean, it really depends. Like the teaser trailer, when they first announced the game, it teases and hints that the Avengers are disassembled. That they've been taken out and something happened that caused them to be completely fractured, because the whole marketing back when it was revealed was #reassemble. So I wonder whose perspective they plan to take that from. There's a female voice narrating over the teaser trailer, so it could be, a number of different heroes really. And then again, some people are speculating that it could be just a create a hero situation, but I would honestly like if we just got it from the perspective of one of the OG Avengers, like just let it be from the perspective of like a Captain America or an Iron Man, and then build from there. Let us play as all the different Avengers. You can have crazy expansions involved in this. You can have a whole expansion on the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, if you want it, wherever you can pull from the Marvel Universe. This can be such a cool game if they pull it off. So yeah, I don't know. If you're asking me, I would want it to be from the perspective of someone like a Captain America or an Iron Man.
Okay. So hopefully we'll get some more info on this at E3 this year,
Yeah.
Here's hoping.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next topic, something we already previously mentioned, Devil May Cry 5. It actually came out today.
Yes.
We obviously got an advance review copy. Caboose put up his review, yesterday? Yesterday you did. We also put up an unboxing that Tony did and an interview with the producer, Matt Walker. So, Caboose, why don't you give your overall thoughts on the game, and Tony, also yours.
I absolutely love this game. Listen, I'm not a massive Devil May Cry fan. I haven't played, I've played the games. Growing up, that was my brother's kind of game. He loved that style of just not necessarily a button masher, but it's a linear missions and a very loose story. You run through, you collect things, you just mow down enemies. It was that traditional style of gaming that my brother loved, and I grew up, playing those games alongside him. And jumping into this, I wasn't expecting much. I wasn't anticipating this game per se. I didn't think like it was going to be bad or anything, but I was going in with like, yeah, whatever, I'll just play it and enjoy myself for a couple of hours. But as soon as I picked up the controller, I got addicted. Like, I could not stop playing this game. It completely hooked me. The gameplay is so much fun because you can button mash. You can. Let's just be honest. Like, if you wanted to just jump in and have fun, that's absolutely what you can do. But you can also master the combat, and you can get that combo higher and higher till you get to like that S tier or the double S tier, and you feel like such a badass when you're doing so. And that is where 99% of my enjoyment came from. Story is all right. Story is just kind of whatever. But the game, it doesn't take itself seriously. It understands how insane the concept is, and it completely embraces that. And that's what I love about Devil May Cry 5. There's a moment straight up where, I don't know, it's not really spoiler, but there's a moment where someone straight up starts dancing like Michael Jackson in the game. Okay, that's how little they take this seriously, and I love that. I love it.
Yeah, I think that your subtitle on that review was the best game of the year so far.
Yeah. I think so. For me, it is.
Okay. Yep. Tony, you played the game as
did.
well.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, very similar. I am a big Devil May Cry fan. This series does have a big place in my heart. The original game's like the first game that I ever beat, like on my own, without my brother's help, and it was like a big deal. Yeah. So, I've loved Devil May Cry for a while. We haven't seen a Devil May Cry like mainline series game in almost a decade. Or over a decade. And so people have been clamoring for it. So I'm just like, oh boy, it's tough when it's been that long. Expectations can get high. So I was kind of the same thing. I try to take it with a grain of salt and just say, whatever this is going to be, hopefully it's just going to be fun. I'm not going to try to put too much stock into it. And I turned it on, and it's not only my favorite Devil May Cry game by far. It's definitely, I would agree, the best game of the year so far. I was very happy to see people enjoying it and the reviews and everything. It's getting what it deserves. It's so much fun. Introducing a new character, V, which is so unique, but still fits in the style of what Devil May Cry is all about. But it was so nice and refreshing to have a new character that is a completely new style. It's something we've never done before in a Devil May Cry game, but it fits so well. And be able to do that 5 games in, 6 if you count the DMC alternate universe game, and a decade later, it's incredible. And what I think was most important for me, kind of looking on the outside in, is like, I am a big fan, but if you haven't played any Devil May Cry games, you could still go get this today and 100%. Love the hell out of it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to have played the previous games. They even give you kind of like a story recap if that's important to you in the game, but it's so easy to just pick up and play and just fall in love with it. It's so great. The combat's so smooth. It looks beautiful. There's a lot of polish on it. Capcom's killing it lately.
Tony, let me ask you, out of the 3 playable characters, you got V, you got Nero, and then Dante, who did you enjoy the most?
Yeah, so, I've been a Dante fanboy since the beginning, and like, he was in like Marvel vs. Capcom 3 or whatever. I'm like, oh, I'm going to use Dante. But believe it or not, I loved using V. When I finally got to get the choice, I had to pick V because it's something that was so different and so new, and you can play him in so many different ways because the way he's not a direct attacker like Nero and Dante. You can get your space, you can do ranged attacks, you can do your melee attacks the same way, but there's just different mechanics to him, and it was so refreshing and so interesting that I couldn't help but pick V whenever I had the choice.
Totally agree. V was the one that I was drawn most towards. I just really loved the different sort of pace that you get out of his games, like his style. Yeah. And he was admittedly as well, I think what I loved about him as well, he was the first character I got like to an S tier combo with. So I was like, okay, this is my guy right now. So I was really loving V. I actually started playing a little more Dante and coming back to his character. And he is just so good.
He's classic.
It's the classic Devil May Cry that you get out of him. But there's some really cool new weapons that they added in this game as well that you're using for Dante that I thought was great. There's some serious, insane stuff that you can do when you get later into the game with Dante. So I love that. But yeah, I think out of the 3, my favorite was V as well.
I agree.
Yeah. I never got into the Devil May Cry franchise. I think because originally wasn't this franchise a PlayStation only exclusive for a
PS2.
while?
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then when did it start going? The first three.
The first three were PS2,
okay.
and then Devil May Cry 4 was the first cross-platform.
Okay, yeah, that's why I never got into it. It looked very cool. I know there was a lot of hardcore fans for it. I like the style and design of it. It's just got a cool name, Devil May Cry.
I know. Yeah.
So, this is something, and I wasn't expecting, even though I knew I was familiar with the franchise, but you know how it is when a series gets up to this number, 4 or 5, you're like, okay, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be like the other ones. But then hearing you and Caboose talk about like how much fun it was, it's like, okay, this is not just the ordinary sequel, right?
Yeah.
It's not just like, okay, this is the one that's a little better than the last one.
Right. And I told this to Matt Walker when I was doing the interview with him, while we were sitting there kind of just, chopping up before we got started, that it made me feel like I would really enjoy to try to play this game with like an arcade fight stick. Because it just has that, like, it still has that Devil May Cry beat 'em up style. And it's just like, man, the combos, like, it makes you, because you're right, you can just button mash it, right? Like Caboose said, you can just button mash it and do it that way. But if you can master these combos and you can lock on and do these different things and evade and everything, just like I felt like my hand was in a strange position because I want to hit all the buttons at once. So if I just had a fight stick, it would be like so smooth and the transition would be great and it'd feel so rewarding. But it's I think it's incredible.
Cool. I know. You give it a fairly high score, Caboose. Tony, what would you give it out of 10?
Out of 10, I think in the 9 range. I think that was right. A lot of these scores are giving it, in the low to mid 9s. I think that's fair. Again, story-wise, maybe there's not as much substance as some of your other games that are out, but that's not what Devil May Cry's ever been about. So it's not reinventing the wheel, but still a fresh, new version of this series that I know and love, and a lot of people do as well.
With the first 4 or 5 with the alternate game, how many characters are playable? Is it just 2?
Yeah, in
the first game, was it just
Dante?
Okay,
there's always just Dante.
Yeah, and then in like the second and third games, like I believe once you beat the game, it like does unlock. You can play it again with one of the other characters who are involved. But the first one was Devil May Cry 4 when Nero showed up, and that was when it was the first kind of like multi-character game, like within the story, like designed to play with both.
Okay, cool. All right, all right. Let's move on to the next topic. We have Oscar Isaac. He's saying that he wants to star in the Metal Gear Solid game. The one that we had Jordan Voight Roberts, who had done Kong Skull Island. He actually came here in studio, and we had an exclusive where he showed off concept art that people hadn't seen before of Metal Gear Solid, the movie that he wants to make.
Wow.
And he seems to be into,
he loves this stuff.
He loves this stuff, but he's into, Oscar saying that he wants to star in it. So, what do you think of him playing Solid Snake?
I think that's great. I mean, Oscar Isaac's a fantastic, super underrated actor, and if he's lobbying for the role, that must mean that he's dedicated. Either he has an understanding of the series, or he would be really dedicated to learning about the series. So I'd be all for it if Jordan Voight Roberts says that he's down for that, and Oscar Isaac says he's down for that. Let's make it happen. I just want to see this movie get made because the director seems so hardcore dedicated to this franchise. He loves Hideo Kojima. He's had meetings with him. He loves Metal Gear Solid. So I think there is no perfect pairing for someone to direct this movie than for Jordan Voight Roberts. And whoever he thinks and sees fit for this role, I would totally be on board with. And if that ends up being Oscar Isaac, hell yes. I'd be totally down for that.
Yeah, he was in an interview with IGN, and they asked him about which video game he'd like to step into, and he said Metal Gear Solid. That's the one. I'm throwing my hat in for that one. And then when Jordan Voight Roberts learned about it, he posted a picture, Instagram picture, and it's actually our boy Boss Logic had done this kind of mock-up of Oscar Isaac as Solid Snake, and he just said the ball's in Oscar's court. You know what I mean? Showing that picture with Oscar Isaac. So he's like, they haven't started casting yet, so it's there.
It happens.
It's open. I mean,
it's like they're on the road.
Are you guys big Metal Gear Solid fans?
Yeah, I've loved the games for a while, and just they are already very cinematic. That's the thing with Kojima. Like, you're gonna watch 45-minute cutscenes in these games, and hopefully hopefully that can translate to the big screen.
Yeah.
It's tough because with video game movies in general, a lot of them are swing and misses because they're these big experiences that take a lot of hours, and you get to kind of you control the thing that's happening, and now you're just sitting back and watching it and trying to condense it into a 2-hour movie or whatever. It can be rough, but I think the most important thing here is that the director and Oscar Isaac ends up playing Solid Snake, and obviously it's something that he's passionate about or wants to do. Just having that passion for the project makes all the difference in a lot of things.
Right.
It's not just a cash grab. It's not just another thing. It's something that they could bring to life that, they'd really enjoy. I think of like Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool, like how serious he was about wanting to do that role and how much of a success it was because of that,
Right. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And you know what? A lot of the times the biggest problem with these video game movies is when you tackle something like a Halo franchise or like a Metal Gear Solid, you want to cram in all the cool stuff in that 2-hour time window, and it just doesn't work. The way that these games work is in that long form 50-hour story. So the best thing to do is to just take a small portion of a really cool part of that 50-hour story and condense it into that 2 hours. Don't try to cram in every cool thing that we've seen in the Metal Gear Solid games into 2 hours. Just give us a portion of it, and if the movie's good, if it performs well at the box office, then go nuts on the franchise. Then give me the sequel and the trilogy, like the prequels or whatever you want to do, spin-offs, all that stuff. Then you can go nuts. But just start off small. Don't get too ambitious with it. Tell a good story, a condensed story that works for that 2-hour runtime that you get with films. And then we just use that as the foundation for the rest.
And that's why I always feel like I'm at war with myself because I always want to see video game movies. I love that there's so many of them and just more video game content. But then it's kind of like, man, would stuff like this be better suited for an HBO show or a Netflix show where instead you can do hour-long episodes and do 10 or 13 episodes and get more of that story instead of trying to cram it into 2 hours? It's that tough toss-up of how do you go about it?
If the story warrants it, you know, if you have something that has a deep history, and that's the problem with a lot of adaptations, right? Whether it's comic books, video games, books, whatever, or even sometimes when they take a TV series and make it a movie or whatever, if you're condensing it to 2 hours, like, is that enough time to tell something? Because they're always like trying to do a lot of story. Let's say like a whole like run of comic books for like, how many pages, like 500 pages, and they're like, all right, we're going to do a 2.5 hour movie on that. It's always tough. And then you watch the movie and it's very rushed and they're trying to jump from one thing to the next, and you don't know what the hell's going on. So the reason
why Infinity War works is because we took like 17 movies to get there.
Exactly.
That thing works because they use a kind of television model for, or at least a hybrid model for those movies. It's not a straight up. You're not watching Infinity War and like learning about these characters for the first time. You've seen them interact before. You've seen their own movies. You know what their characters are and what they're about. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's very tough thing to do. And that's why we're, that Halo Showtime series that we're talking about, like, maybe that's a better fit for. Maybe it is better on Showtime than it is a movie. I don't know. They've been trying to make that movie for a long time. Didn't happen. But maybe it is better suited. We got the rumors of like the Resident Evil Netflix series. We have the Witcher one coming out.
Right, you see the success of Castlevania on Netflix.
So perhaps that's the thing. So speaking of movies, this movie is already. I won't say it's done yet, but it's getting close to completion, and it will be coming out, I think, later this year.
Yeah, November?
Yeah, something like that. So more leaks of this Sonic the Hedgehog. You know, we've seen some before. We did a whole episode on it where I complained the hell out of it.
Yeah.
I talk crap about it. I think on Movie Talk. As someone who grew up in that Sega Genesis versus Super Nintendo time, and at that time being a Sega fanboy and loving Sonic the Hedgehog, seeing like those pictures, I'm like, what? Who is this? It's not. That's not like have they seen Sonic the Hedgehog before?
Right.
I don't understand why they need to make. That's the thing. I've complained about these live action adaptations of cartoon-esque characters, whether it's a video game or not. Like you're talking about Alvin and the Chipmunks or Smurfs. It creeps me out. It creeps me out, and because they try and do this weird thing, like keep it. Look, if you're gonna make, first of all, I didn't agree with the decision. I thought Sonic the Hedgehog should be an animated film, like a Pixar animated film, like Angry Birds or whatever, right? Like
fully animated, not like CGI live action.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then when you take it over to the live action, then you want to make it realistic, right? And so he's like all furry. Look, according to all the like leaked images, because the only official one that's been released is the one where he's kind of in shadow, right? Like where you see his fur, and you're like, "What's up with his?"
That's the only official one.
Yes,
Yeah, right.
yes. What's up with his hands? So when
And
I
then
see
the one where he's sitting and you just see his legs spread.
Yeah,
I actually saw that at a movie theater like last December. I was like, already? They already have this marketing already? It's interesting.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like they're teasing it, but they're not showing the whole thing. And then
There's no
when
trailer out still.
No, and then when they leak the pictures get leaked, they get taken down. But like everyone's seen them, they see like what the hell? Like instead of gloves,
it's just fur.
It's just fur, right? Like instead of the whole thing is he's wearing. It's okay. Think about it this way. Mario has white gloves, right? Imagine if you have Mario and then they just painted his regular hand white. That doesn't work. Yeah. And so I just don't understand. And I guess they let Yuji Naka, he was the head of the Sonic team. He actually didn't design Sonic the Hedgehog, but he was the guy who kind of took over the game and was in charge of that. And he's like, it is shocking that his bare hands are white. Like it doesn't make any sense.
He's very upset.
Yeah, Sonic has blue hands that he wears white gloves for. It doesn't make any
disaster.
sense. Yeah, like people are mentioning that the Sonic the Hedgehog that's in the Progressive commercials looks better than this one. It's really weird, and like his feet look strange.
Yeah, because they're like proportion. Like they're trying to change his. They're trying to change his proportions. So he's human, but like that's not the point.
No,
like you're asking us to accept that there's this giant fast hedgehog. Just living in the world. Yeah. We'll accept that. You don't have to make him so realistic. We get it.
He's like
we're on board.
He's like half human.
Yeah.
He's like a hedgehog and a human had sex, and then they had like this thing. Yeah.
And
now, I still want to see a trailer.
Yeah, of course.
I'm still in the like.
Well, I'll still be there. First
hold
day.
on. I'll give it a beat. I'll give it a beat when we see it in movement and everything. But overall, this movie's gonna have a real tough time selling the audience to first of all go see the movie, let alone be on board with the design of Sonic.
Yeah, well, what I don't get is this. Okay, Sonic the Hedgehog is this cute animated character, right? And okay, let's say I'm not the audience for it, even though I grew up with Sonic. Look, they're not marketing towards older people.
Yeah.
Okay, you're marketing towards kids. You market things towards kids because you make the design cute and adorable so that they will want to see the movie and they will want to buy products involving that, right? Merchandise. I don't know how this translates to the cute, adorable, like animal stuffed animal that kids will want to buy.
Right. If I walked into my house and this Sonic the Hedgehog is there, I'd freak out if there was a creature like this, right?
Yeah.
But if there's a cutesy, normal Sonic that we love, I'm like, oh, yeah, I gotta go fast.
Yeah, what if like this thing is like hanging on your couch with his long ass legs? Like he looks like he's like ready to go play.
Now I am excited. I can't wait to see Jim Carrey.
Okay.
see what he's going to look like, because that's going to be
As Robotnik,
very interesting.
right?
Yeah.
That's the saving grace, is that Jim Carrey is actually perfectly cast in this movie. So I'm excited for that as well.
Yeah.
Man. And it's so far opposite of like, I'm in the camp of like Detective Pikachu. I think that looks beautiful.
Hell yes.
I've been
But they still keep him cute.
That's what I'm saying. And I've been so nervous. Like, what is a CG Pokemon? What would that look like? And I think they nailed it. Like, that Charizard looks so badass. Seeing all the little Bulbasaurs run down the little stream. It's so cute. They did it. Why is it so hard?
Imagine if
That's the
Pikachu
thing, right?
like had long ass legs.
Yeah.
And he looks like a real rat.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to make him look like a real rat. I know what,
And the thing is too is like I don't mind the fur. I don't mind that that's the angle. If they just did the classic Sonic design and it still had that kind of blue fur, I think people would be way more on board, just like they are with Detective Pikachu, because Pikachu looks like Pikachu.
Right.
That if you looked at any episode of Pokemon or any game, that's what Pikachu looks like. He just looks photorealistic because he has fur, and that's what he should look like, because it's still like an animal. So if they did a very similar angle with Sonic, I think people would be way more on board, because it still looks like Sonic. He just looks photorealistic with the fur and everything.
Yeah.
It just makes me terrified to see what is Knuckles going to look like.
Oh God.
It's gonna be
What
like
is Tails going to look like?
Knuckles is gonna be like on roids. He's gonna be like super big.
Look at this monster.
Yeah.
They would put him down immediately.
Tails will have like super long
He would never.
fangs. I don't know. But so yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see the trailer and we'll change our minds. But right now,
It's an uphill battle.
Yes,
that's for
it's-
sure.
When is it set to release?
huh?
Movie?
It's
When
like
is this fall.
November, I think.
Yeah. This
Oh,
fall.
wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah, because you think when they release a poster that the trailer is right around the corner. from
Right,
that,
you think.
That's usually what
they
happens.
probably heard the response that
Oh,
people
like,
had.
oh,
and
boy.
they're-
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They're like, the only problem is they probably had already animated a lot of it, and they're like, we got to go back and change. I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll keep our eye on that. All right, next topic. Actually, our last topic before we get to Twitter questions. So, Anthem, not to a good start. Apparently, the PS4 version has been shutting down systems, and in response, they've been like discounting the PS4 version by like $10.
Yeah, that's
for
gonna
people to get. Caboose, can you give us a little more background on this story?
Yeah, so supposedly the game has been crashing a couple times. I think this is on both consoles from what I've been hearing.
Okay.
But a lot of the reports are coming from PlayStation 4s, where not only is the game crashing on the console, but some people's consoles have been bricked completely
Ooh.
because of Anthem. Yeah, supposedly
bueno.
Jason Schreier over at Kotaku had mentioned that a dev emailed him, and they were like, yeah, it shut down my PS4, and now my PlayStation won't turn on now. So this is rough. If Anthem wasn't already fighting an uphill battle in the PR department, you add this on top of that. Holy smokes! There's a lot of damage control to be done. People on the PlayStation have had their copies being refunded by EA.
Wow.
So this is an absolute catastrophe on all levels. I mentioned it in our video that we put up on Collider Games. I'll reiterate here. If you are playing Anthem on the PlayStation 4 or even on the Xbox One, beware. There are some serious issues out there, and there are reports that it has bricked consoles. So I would wait out on playing the game until you hear an official word from EA Help on Twitter or anything that everything's been fixed and it should be okay now. But until that point, play the game at your own risk, because it looks like there's some serious issues right now with it.
Okay. Let me ask you, are you playing Anthem at all?
Oh boy.
Recently. In the past
not recently.
week.
Not
So
recently.
you've been playing Devil May Cry 5 and then Apex Legends.
Apex Legends. I have played a good amount of Anthem.
Okay.
I have played a decent amount, and I still, to a degree, enjoy the game.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just no excuse for this. It's just completely, the point that I made in my review still stands here. Should have just waited a couple more months to smoothen out some of those bugs, those glitches that were there, get all that content that was on their 90-day roadmap in the game from launch. And imagine 90 days from now, if Anthem launched, how much better it would be. Probably could have avoided all this.
Yeah, I think what the companies need to do now, we talked about Fallout 76 in this game. Like, dude, let's say you're like, okay, we're gonna hit this date, whatever it is, March 1st.
Yep.
Add 6 months to that, and that's your new release date. Like,
There you go.
Like
Just take some time.
Yeah, like stop doing this. You're only hurting yourself.
Yeah.
Just delay the game. If you can't meet the date that you have been pushed to set to meet, just tell the publisher. Like that's what Rockstar has done. Pretty much every game for the past 20 years, they've been like, this is the time that the game's coming out. Actually, no, probably a year from then instead, because they got to work on the game. And it goes right back to the Avengers topic that we were talking about earlier. There are people online who are upset that the Avengers project's taking so long in development. Would you rather the Avengers project comes out, is an absolute disaster, and is bricking consoles? Or would you rather they just wait and release the game when they know the time is right? That could have completely saved Anthem from all the negative reviews, from all the bad press, and from a lot of the issues that they're having to deal with right now on top of all that I just mentioned. They just had to wait and just push the game back. I don't understand why in gaming now, or even in any medium, why people are so dead set on we have to meet this date no matter what, even if the content that we are putting out suffers for it. It has to meet this date. That should never be the motto to live by.
Yeah, I mean, I think hopefully some lessons are being learned from this. On a semi-related note, we got a little flack from people when we talked about Red Dead Redemption 2 being a complete, 100% complete game and them delaying it. And people were like, oh, but the online wasn't finished. It's like, dude, that online is a bonus. That is not.
Right.
I'm telling you right now, I paid $60 for the game. I finished the complete single mission. I played some of the online. It was fun, but I haven't really delved into it. If I never touched that game ever again in my life, I got my $60 and then some with that game. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm not complaining about that game. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's nitpicky if you're like, oh, well, the online wasn't.
Red Dead 2 didn't launch with the promise of having the greatest online mode ever. It came
it's
out
not an online game.
No.
Yeah, that the promise was the story and expanding the lore of the Red Dead games that we've had with Red Dead Revolver, Red Dead Redemption 1, more specifically Red Dead 1. So that was the promise of the launch of Red Dead Redemption 2. It wasn't, hey, this game's going to come out and have one of the coolest online modes ever. No.
This isn't Call of Duty. This isn't
exactly.
Yeah, so yeah,
and I think that with GTA 5 having such a robust online, like that's what Rockstar's going to focus on. This is just kind of, again, like you said, it's just a bonus. Yeah. That's not what Red Dead's about.
No. Yeah. So, all right, let's move on to some Twitter questions we've got from some guy online. I don't know if that I got Dorian. I don't know. Dorian sent me these. I asked him to get some Twitter questions. Dorian's actually heading to South by Southwest, so he's actually going to cover some video game stuff down there. Cool. He also is going to cover the Twin Peaks Mondo Gallery, which, by the way, where Collider Games is working on the Twin Peaks VR game right now, and which things are going pretty well, and it's been a lot of fun working on that. So he's going to be down. That's why he's not on the podcast today. But he collected these, so I don't know if this one is a particular. But he said some guy online. I don't know if he was cracking a joke, but he's like, "What are some other video game franchises you'd like to see come back from the dead?" So Tony, what about like something that you haven't seen in a long time that doesn't have anything on? Like no one's talking about bringing this franchise back.
Man, this is tough. There's so many different things. The first thing I always go to, and it's interesting now to see little tidbits of Microsoft and Nintendo kind of maybe buddying up. Yeah. I would love to see Banjo-Kazooie return in some form or fashion. Ever since Microsoft got Rare, it's kind of been left in the dust. We saw, like kind of an HD remaster on the Xbox Live Arcade and then Rare Replay. So we're seeing the original thing, but just seeing some brand new platform, like especially seeing how Super Mario Odyssey kind of felt like the true sequel to like Super Mario 64. Like taking that platforming style, like Galaxy was kind of a different game. Sunshine was a very different game, and this felt more traditional towards the Super Mario 64 range. So seeing how we can make platformers now, It'd be very interesting to see. That's the one I always go back to most, is because I don't think we got our fair shake of Banjo-Kazooie titles, especially once it went to Microsoft. I think they let us down a little bit. So I would love to see that resurrected.
Coos?
Yeah, that's a tough question, but I guess to kind of piggyback on what you're saying there, Tony, maybe something like a Crash Bandicoot would be cool. I know we just had the remakes, the reboots, or not the reboots, but sorry, like the HD remasters. But it would be cool maybe to see like a whole brand new game be made.
Totally.
That's just a tough. I'd have to like look in a catalog of franchises that are kind of dead now to really pick and choose. But like just off of the top of my head, especially after what you were talking about there with Banjo-Kazooie, I think that's probably my choice.
Yeah, especially because on when they launched that on Xbox One and PC, they added a all new original level, and that showed that they can make Crash Bandicoot levels. So give them a shot to make a full game. That'd be great.
Agreed.
Yeah, this one's tough. I mean, one franchise, it's not that it's dead, it's just that we don't know what's going on with it, and that's Half-Life,
Yeah, I guess that's the one.
We always talk about. Half-Life, when it first came out, was a revolution in the first-person shooter genre. It added this kind of story element, and it was revolutionary at the time. The AI with the enemies was at that time was groundbreaking. Yeah. And then it took a long while before they did Half-Life 2, which they kind of split. They had like 2 episodes for that. And now we just haven't heard anything since. And it's not because it wasn't successful. It's just, Valve, and
they don't make trilogies.
Yeah. So it's just
what? That actually gives me a better answer now that you mentioned it, Dennis, because I'm changing my answer. Okay. Although it probably is never going to happen. All the same with Half-Life 3. And I guess this is a double answer. I want a new Portal game, and I want a new Left 4 Dead. Those are some of my favorite games.
Left 4 Dead was a lot of fun. Yeah.
So much fun. Yeah. So much fun. I would love to see. But the problem is, the issue with any game that Valve has ever made is why put in the resources to make a new game when we can just keep running Steam and make all the money there? Yeah. So that's why we're probably never going to see a Half-Life 3. We might not even ever see a Left 4 Dead or a Portal 3, although I would love for that. Portal 2 was honestly one of the best games ever made. Yeah. It's a masterpiece. The story is super cool. The puzzles are great. Left 4 Dead, that whole series is ridiculously fun. I love the online as well, how you can play as the different zombies and, try and kill all the survivors and stuff. It's so cool. Yeah. So I wish they made a third one.
It was so awesome to set up 2 TVs, 2 Xboxes, and get 4 people playing. Man, those days. Those were the good old days.
Those were the days.
Yeah. All right, we have at Vic the man. Let's see, Vic the Tan Man. Hey, what's up, Collider Gaming? With all this customizations for MK11, do you guys think we will see Scorpion's snake spear from the film? What other Easter egg customizations from the MK movies, comics, PL, or past games would you like to see? Thanks, everyone.
That's a good question. So there's actually some really cool nods in the customization. One of so I can finally talk about, I wasn't allowed to before, but just last week I was actually in Chicago visiting NetherRealm Studios, and I got a chance to play more of Mortal Kombat 11. And one of the really cool things that a lot of people found out, because you could play as Johnny Cage, is he does this thing where if you go down to one of the customization pieces with his belt, he does the little hand gesture that people do, where if you get caught by it, you get punched. So he's doing that to you, and then when you get out of the customization, he looks at you, he smiles, and then he punches the camera. It's hilarious. In terms of like movie nods, I think that would be cool if we got like the snake spear. I don't know how they would be able to practically do that though with animation wise, because in the game, Scorpion's stance is he's holding the spear in his hand. So I don't know how they'd be able to do that. But maybe they, with Johnny Cage, they could do something like the $500 shades that he has in the movie that Goro steps on or something. They make reference to it in MKX. So that's great. I honestly, I don't know. I'd have to think what different kind of references they could potentially make to the movie in the video game, because it's hard.
Yeah. Well, as someone who, only played the very early entries of Mortal Kombat and really watched the first couple movies in the web series, I would just say, I don't know if they've already done this, but have like Christopher Lambert's Raiden like in the game.
Yeah,
like,
stuff like that would be
like,
would be
with his
You know what?
voiceover and like his look, because it's much different than what's in the game.
Funny enough, actually, I don't know why I wasn't thinking of this when this question was brought up, but it's been rumored. I don't have any inside information on this, but it's been rumored that the actor who played Shang Tsung in the movies, in the original movie, that is actually going to be the one who they use the face capture for Shang Tsung in MK11. And I have nothing to base that off of besides just the rumors. Ed Boon, I think, teased that there will be something that fans of Mortal Kombat will get super excited about for one of the characters in the game. He could just be teasing a character specifically, but based on some rumors that are out there, based on some digging that people have done through some trailers we've already seen for the game, some behind-the-scenes stuff that we've seen for the game, it's supposedly going to be the actor who played Shang Tsung from the movies who will be doing
Kerry Hiroyuki Tagawa. He's been in movies like, obviously Mortal Kombat, but he was in Planet of the Apes.
Johnny Tsunami.
Yeah, was he?
He plays the grandpa, the original Johnny. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a character actor that's been in a ton of stuff.
I would just love to hear him just deliver "Your soul is mine." That line in the game. That'd be incredible.
Yes.
And
Awesome.
they're so great at this. Like when it comes to Mortal Kombat and Injustice, like their DLC packages, like I could totally see them, having a DLC package down the road of like skins from the movie for the characters that are in the movies or something. That would be really cool.
I don't know if you guys remember because you guys are much younger than I am, but Street Fighter was huge, right? And then everyone loved the game. Then they made a Street Fighter the movie video game
where they did digitize actors in the game.
It was terrible.
Oh, what's the deal with that?
It was terrible. They had Jean-Claude Van Damme in there, and like, oh my god, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Did they do it like how, because the original Mortal Kombat games, it was actors.
They did it exactly like that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it was bad.
Yeah. It was like on Sega Saturn, I think.
Let me take a look. Street Fighter the movie, it was an arcade game, and I'm sure it got ported over to other systems, but I just remember that like it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. You had Na Wen as Chung Li. Let's see here. Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile. Oh my god.
And that's a weird choice already.
Yeah.
Weird casting for that movie.
Yeah.
The American hero Guile.
Yeah.
Played by Jean-Claude Van Damme. God bless you.
Yeah. That's, all right.
I do got to say that the visit to NetherRealm Studios was super cool. I got to thank the folks at WB Games for bringing me out for that.
Nice.
They have some insane memorabilia in there. They actually have the head of Goro from the movie.
Oh, wow.
And funny enough, I don't have the full story, but supposedly they just bought it off of eBay. It was being auctioned off.
It wasn't even theirs.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
it
we should
wasn't
have
even
this.
theirs. They just bought it off eBay because they saw it being auctioned off, which is crazy.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next one we have Maze Carlisle says, how did you feel overall about the story of Devil May Cry 5? Do you think it took the franchise in the right direction after the last couple games were just okay story-wise?
This one's just okay as well, I think. But I mean, I don't know. I didn't mind that the story wasn't like incredible or something because the game's not really taking itself too seriously.
Yeah.
It's just you're just kind of going with the flow and having fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I didn't really mind. There are actually some pretty cool story moments though. Even in my overall thoughts of the story being just all right, there are still some really cool moments in the story that happen that I think some people will be very excited to see.
Yeah, and especially if you're a fan of the series, like it's not going to disappoint you, especially of what you've been used to, and it's you're doing mission after mission, like there's break in the action because there's specific missions, like that's the way the game's built. So a straight through line story, they did it, it's there, it's fun. But it's not the bread and butter of this game.
It's not what the focus is on.
No.
Right?
I like that the story is non-linear. Like there are times where you're kind of jumping back between, not like all the way in the past, but you're jumping in between the time. It's kind of like they Pulp Fiction it. That's the best way to explain it.
They Tarantino it a little bit.
Right. There are certain missions that take place before the present day, and then there are missions that take place on the present day. So I thought that was pretty cool.
And it's cool the way they give you a timeline, like during the loading screens and stuff, so they can keep track of all that stuff, and you
I thought that was great.
Keep your head around it.
All right, last question we have here. Hold on, let me get the name. I know what the question is. I just hold on. Sorry. At Christo CWC asks, "What are your thoughts on the new Overwatch hero Baptiste?"
Haven't tried him out yet, so I can't really have an opinion there. He looks cool though.
Do you play Overwatch?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I try. Like I remember when they would do like, free weekend, and I would like play it with all my buddies because like a game like that, like kind of like Anthem, like for Anthem, like I didn't jump on the Anthem train because it was like either all of us are getting it. Or I'm not getting it because I'm not gonna play this game by myself.
Okay.
And we were kind of on the fence, and then early reviews and stuff, and it didn't happen.
Okay.
So same with Overwatch, like it's kind of thing was like I'm only gonna get it if all my friends get it. They did, and I was just behind. So like I played with them like on a free weekend, and I was too far behind. It was like too hard to like you guys are legends and I'm terrible. I'm like I'm never gonna catch up, and so I kind of just fell behind the 8 ball on it, but. I wish I was into it. I love it. I love the way it looks. I love the way it plays. I love that it's super popular and they have the Overwatch League. Like I love all that. But yeah.
So let's do a side tangent here, Tony, because this is your first time on the show.
Yeah.
Where do you fall, if any, on the Fortnite and Apex Legend?
Yeah.
Like the free to play games. Are you playing either one?
I've played about 3 games of Fortnite.
Okay.
Couldn't get into it.
Okay.
Just not a fan. I played Apex Legends, turned it on, played for about 8 hours.
Yes.
Loved it. It's I got 1 kill all night.
It sounds like me.
Real bad at it. We were me and my buddies were really good at just like staying safe. Took a lot of second place trophies home because we were just
hiding out?
kind of not like. Yeah, I guess like we were just kind of like staying on the edge of the ring, collecting as much as we can, and we just wouldn't get in enough firefights to be good at it. So when a firefight did happen, we were toast. Yeah. So, but it's a blast. It's a game that I want to get better at. It's so much fun. So big fan of Apex. Was never a fan of PUBG. Never a fan of Fortnite. Anything like that. Yeah. Missed me. But Apex is different, right?
Yeah.
It's I love the direction they took with it and. Yeah, I am a big fan of it.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time here, how a bunch of us played Fortnite. I know, Caboose, you still play Fortnite, right?
Yeah, I still play it. I mean, the game right now, I will admit, is in a very rough state in terms of competitively. If you're playing Fortnite casually, there's really nothing wrong with it. Because I am a bit of a competitive person, I like to play because in Fortnite right now, they have like an events tab where you can play in tournaments and you play against other people who are very well skilled. It's not like a traditional ranked mode. They only run the tournaments, every so often. There's a limited time that you can participate in them. But regardless, like whenever I get the chance to, I participate in them. I get my group of friends together. We get really hardcore competitive in it. We make the call-outs and everything, and it's super fun. In that sense, though, there's a lot of issues with Fortnite, a lot of bugs and a lot of problems. Especially if they're putting money on the line, you got to make sure your game is running at 100%. You can't have, they had a recent tournament where there were people who were experiencing bugs where they just couldn't build, and because of that, they got killed. And you cannot compete for money where that's a problem in your game. So competitively, there's a lot of issues going on with Fortnite that need a lot of work. Casually, it's fine. So it's still going to be the juggernaut that it always has been in the battle royale genre. But Apex Legends for me is just on another level. There's so much fun to be had there.
I just think of a real life correlation to what you're talking about, the bugs for Fortnite. And it's like imagine going to Vegas and sitting at the blackjack table.
Yeah.
And like an ace appears on your card. And no, you can't use that one.
No.
That one's a bug. That one's a bug.
Can I split these? Can I split these aces? No. You can't. You can't do that.
You can't.
Wait. Come on.
Yeah. We talked about this many times, but we're on that train of, I played Fortnite, I enjoyed it, but I never got addicted to it. Yeah. Where Apex, I got addicted, and I suck too.
Yeah, I need a coach.
Like I'll get like 1 or 2 kills every 3 hours or something.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say like every game.
No.
I got one ever.
No. Well. The first, it took me, I would say, maybe 4 to 5 hours before I got my first kill.
We got to win though, right, Dennis? Me, you,
Yeah,
and Jack.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, Caboose is awesome at this game. And so him, and Jack played together. Me, him, and Dorian played together. And so, like, when you have someone as good as Caboose that can help, like, revive you or whatnot.
Sure.
So...
All right, Caboose, you need to train me.
Yeah. I did revive Caboose once, though. I did revive him once.
I'm on PS4. I know.
We're
what
on
a lame.
I'm on Xbox.
We're on
That's the only
Xbox.
issue.
All right.
I don't.
I'll get an Xbox. I'll get one. I'll get one.
When are they gonna cross-play this?
Hopefully,
Because Fortnite's cross-play.
Knowing Sony will probably be a while.
Yeah.
But here, I hope even they just add like PC, crossplay. That's not even a thing right now, because on Fortnite, that was one of the first things they did with Fortnite was if you had a PC, you can play with people on Xbox or you can play with people on PS4. Because I play Apex on PC
Switch,
every now and again as well. So if we get crossplay in there, then for sure, Tony, we'll get some games.
Yeah, we'll rock. And I've only been one. I haven't really messed around with the other characters, so I don't know who's going to be the best for me.
Who are you playing right now?
I was playing as Gibraltar.
Oh, okay.
Who's that? Is that the big
dude?
So,
I just really
Gibby's good, but right now there's some patches that they got to make with hitbox. And
that's
the sizes of characters, and Gibraltar has the biggest hitbox in the game.
It all makes sense. I knew I wasn't terrible.
So he's a bit of a bullet sponge because of that.
Yeah, I play as Bangalore. Just she runs fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm
a Wraith man.
I'm usually getting attacked. I'm usually getting shot at.
And I'd always pick third. I'd let my buddies pick and then try to I don't know what's best for we need one of these, we need one of these, and we need one of these. And I'd always be kind of third, just kind of go with what they told me. So
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I always relinquish jump master control over someone else. The game is much more fun when you're playing with people because we talked about this before. You're playing other people that aren't helpful at all. They just want to take your shit or they run off on their own.
All right,
and
cool.
they die.
Best of luck.
And they die and they want you to revive them. You're like,
no way, dude.
Why'd you run off then?
No way, Jose. You're on your own.
My teammates still just do that. I'll play with people that I'm coordinating with, and if I kill a team but I go down in the process, they're looting those guys instead of picking me up.
Hey man, throw me a bone here, huh?
So was that leaked a legend, just a false thing, Caboose?
No, it looks like it's going to be real.
But it's not out yet though.
He's just not out yet. He's probably going to launch with the Battle Pass when Season 1 officially starts, which is happening at some point this month. They've updated us on Reddit after they put out a patch for the game very recently, and they said, listen, just be patient. We are working on it. It's coming, so just be patient. In the roadmap for Apex Legends, it's mentioned that Season 1 in the Battle Pass is officially set to start this month. Okay. So we'll get that announcement sometime soon within these next couple of weeks. We'll keep you updated here on Collider Games, and I'm assuming that's where the new legend is going to drop because it looks very, very legit. Everything in terms of the design matches up with the silhouette of the two legends that they had shown in the initial launch trailer for the game. So I think it is real.
Okay. Who are you playing with again?
Wraith.
You play with Wraith. You like doing the little teleportation.
Yeah, and she's also just a really fast character, a small character. Mm-hmm. But when Octane does come out, everything I've heard from that character sounds like he's going to be another one of those really fast, high-speed characters. He's going to have some crazy abilities. One where you use a stim pack, and it takes 10% of your health, but you move 30% faster.
Ooh.
And you don't get slowed down by anything. So if there's some, if you have one of Caustic's traps go off, you can just run through it freely. You'll still take the damage probably, but you won't be slowed down by it on top of taking the damage. So he sounds like he's going to be a really cool character. He's going to have a jump pad, apparently, where you can launch off and just go flying around the map with it. I can't wait. I'm super, super pumped to see what this guy's going to be like.
Oh, you know who I hate fighting against? Mirage. Because every time I see the decoy, I always
oh my
waste
gosh.
my ammo. I let the enemies know where my position is.
Yeah.
So you get
what a dirty trick.
Yeah, I how am I supposed to know he's not real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, I hate fighting. Then I think I'm doing good too because I'm like shit. I'm like,
I'm getting him.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. I got this. Stay outside. I'm good.
Yeah, and then the whole other team knows exactly where I am.
Then you just get bombarded. Your team's like, what happened? You said you got it.
Yeah. So, all right. That's it for this episode of the Collider Games podcast. I'd like to thank everyone joining us. Tony, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at I am Tony Revis.
Okay.
Find me there.
And Caboose?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CabooseEK. And now that Dorian's not here, The Office is better than Parks and Rec.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Yes, high fives all around.
I like Parks and Rec a
Firm
lot,
handshakes.
but
Yeah.
The Office, there's just some.
I don't keep going back to Parks and Rec, tell you that much.
Yeah.
I watched The Office yesterday.
There you go.
You know.
That's the
There's
point
some
I'm trying to make.
classic Office episodes that just like burn into you.
I know like every line from every episode. I can't say the same about Parks and Rec. As good as it is.
All I know is Scott's Tots has to be
So uncomfortable.
the most cringiest
Oh my God.
episode of television.
Can't even talk
Dorian's
about it.
watching right now so that he knows he has no way to defend himself here today.
Scott's Tots.
Sorry, buddy.
Okay. All right, guys. And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Collider Games. Also, subscribe to the Collider Factory feed where you can get this podcast every week. You also can get a bunch of different podcasts for our movie talk show, Jedi Council, Heroes, TV Talk, all that good stuff. Look up Collider on whatever you use for your podcast apps. All right. We'll see you guys next time.